For more on this tonight, we're joined by Sourabh Gupta. He is a policy specialist at the Institute for China-America Studies. Sourabh, nice to have you with us again tonight. What's significant about what you heard today between North Korea, the United States, and now, of course, the president, in a sense, pointing a finger at China?
What I found very significant is, frankly, that the two parties are in the midst of very, very deep and dense negotiations. You know, if the two presidents, if Chairman Kim and President Trump do meet in Singapore, they are just not going to have a happy meeting and have pleasantries out there. We will have an overarching document about how this whole process will work over the next 2-3 years. And that requires incredible compromising from both ends in some respects. So what I see out here is that process is in the works, and there are difficult negotiations going on, and at this point of time, certain conditions are not yet being met.
So do you think that it will go beyond June 12th, that it will not, that deadline for that meeting will not be met, based on what you heard from the president today?
I am on the optimistic side that it will be met. I think the chances, I would place it at about 80-20 or 90-10, but we can't be absolutely certain that it will happen, but I think they will make the utmost effort to make it happen.
This president, we all know, wears his emotions on his sleeve, but now he also puts his diplomatic bulletins on his sleeve as well, saying, you know, he didn't like that meeting between China and North Korea. He went so far as to say that nobody knew anything about it. And then the attitude of Kim Jong-un changed after that meeting, insinuating that maybe China had given him some rope or given him some room to negotiate with the United States in maybe a different manner. How do you read all of that? I mean, that comes right from the president, not the Secretary of State, not the spokesperson, from the president.
I would say that frankness is actually welcome. What we might have seen over the last 2 weeks actually is not Mr. Trump, but China having a soft linkage between the North Korea issue and the trade issue. And perhaps they did find a way to induce Kim to take a little bit of a harder stance in his negotiations with the U.S. We can't say for certain, but I can see linkage out there which Trump has not been happy about, and frankly, I think is not helpful, because I think ultimately, Trump and Kim really need to meet.
Has John Bolton, in his past and his most current comments about Libya, soured this entire effort in a sense?
Yes, he has soured this effort, because for Kim Jong-un and for most of the world, the Libya model connotes something, and that connotes...
Oh, it's real. It's not fake. It happened.
It happened.
And Kim Jong-un has got to be sitting there thinking, you know, this could happen to me if I don't get some assurances.
Exactly. And I mean, Gaddafi was in the ditch at the end of the day and dead. And so it's very important. But let me make two countervailing arguments out here, and both are important countervailing arguments. President Trump was asked very clearly, can you assure his security and his regime? And he was very frank and direct that he would. Secondly, and this is an interesting facet which has not been picked up at all, the Libya model can also connote something else, one more facet, and that is, in the case of the Libya denuclearization, it happened in a very truncated, condensed schedule. Americans came in, dismantled it, and took the nuclear plant away to Tennessee, frankly. And that actually is what our people are hoping will happen in this instance, where we won't have a long, drawn-out, multi-year negotiation, but something done over a truncated, condensed period.
So the Libya model's about process. It's not about a leader being dead.
It could well be, but that's not how it's understood, and understandably so.
Okay, Sourabh Gupta, thank you. Appreciate it tonight.
Thank you.